Howdy. We are going to be doing the Memory of Chaos Floor 12 with a DPS Silverwolf before it resets in a few days. And I just thought this was an interesting thing, you know, DPS Silverwolf at E0. I mean, if I could have her at E6, I would, but also I'm a broke boy, so I do not have an E6. We're going to go over her build and the whole team beforehand, because I'm going to be talking while I play, right? This isn't just a random showcase where I don't say anything. Not that there's anything wrong with those kinds of videos, but I feel like it doesn't really give enough information. So Silverwolf is E0 and she's S1, but not with her own signature. She is using Cypher's signature light cone because this is significantly better than her own signature light cone. Her own signature is dog shit. Please, for the love of God, do not ever pull it. It's actually a really good light cone, Cypher's I mean, for Silver, assuming you can hit the speed breakpoint. So it gives 18% speed, which right out the gate is really good. On top of that, after the wearer uses an attack, there's a 120% base chance to inflict the bamboozle state on every enemy target. While under the bamboozle state, enemy targets have their def decreased by 16% for 2 turns. So this just, in general, right there, that's all. You don't need to hit any breakpoints or anything. It's just going to work for 16% def reduction on the enemy. But on top of that, if the wearer's speed is higher than or equal to 170, there's a 120% base chance to inflict the thief state on every enemy target. While under the thief state, enemy targets have their def decreased by a further 8% for 2 turns. When bamboozle or theft is repeatedly inflicted, only the most recently inflicted instance takes effect. What this means is you can't refresh it. Like if you hit the enemy and it has 1 turn on the enemy left, like it ticks down 1 turn and then you hit the enemy and it procs again, it's not going to refresh it. So that's the only real downside here. It's unfortunate, but it's still a really good light cone. If we compare it to something like the resolution light cone, first off, it already has higher stats. It's got 106 higher base attack and just under 200 higher base defense, which is really nice. More damage and a lot better survivability. Now, resolution is a 100% chance for 16% def shred for 1 turn. This is a 120% chance for 16% def shred for 2 turns, and if you have 170 speed, 120% chance for 24% def shred for 2 turns. And because it counts as 2 separate debuffs, that counts as it's 2 separate debuffs, right? For stuff where you need to build up debuffs, such as Silverwolf's E1, or what is that one light cone? Good night, sleep well if another one of your teammates has this light cone on, or anything else where you need to have multiple debuffs on, or Dr. Ratio, right? Or the 4-piece set that you use on Acheron. Crap, what's it called? It's going to drive me nuts if I don't find it, so I have to look for it. Yeah, 4-piece diver. So actually pretty nice to have that. With this, she has a lot of debuffs in her kit. And there are better options for her personal damage, I'm sure, but this just works really well, and I don't want to have to switch her light cone or her build, so we're just going to be sticking with this. Now, if you hit 100 def shred outside of this, you're probably going to be better off using something else because the def shred becomes pointless. But right now, this def shred is quite nice to have. We are not hitting 100 def shred though. We do not have 4-piece genius on. This would let us hit, I think, like 101, 104 def shred, something like that. But I don't have it here because I do, hopefully in the future, I would like to get E2 Sparkle, and then I would be massively overkilling on def. So right now, we have 4-piece Scholar, which is pretty decent for her damage. My pieces are lackluster, to say the least. They could definitely be better pieces, but they could be worse. We're sitting at 78.4 crit rate and 140 crit damage, 27 break effect, and 30 effect hit rate. I would like higher effect hit rate to guarantee her bugs and get higher attack percent from this trace, but I unfortunately don't have good enough pieces for that. And then she has 2-piece Forge for the extra speed, and then if the enemy has fire weakness, We get 40 break effect, which is nice. Break effect isn't a totally worthless stat on a Silver Wolf. It's actually decent to have. So for the other characters, I don't want to spend nearly as much time on because, well, I don't want to be here for 5 years. I have a Tribi E0S1. I really don't think there's much getting around this if you want to not have doo-doo damage on Silver Wolf without pulling Eidolons, right? Like, it's pretty important to get Eidolons for Silver Wolf to make her into a DPS, either on her or her teammates. And seeing as she has really good AoE damage because of her ults, having full AoE and a pretty good multiplier, and how E1 works on Tribi, it's really nice to have. Her relics are, again, not like incredible by any means, but they could be better for sure, or sorry, worse for sure. Now, the signature light cone on Tribi is not necessary. You could go DDD. Actually, DDD might be better here, but I only have one S5 DDD, and so switching around all the time is a pain, and I don't like having to plan around it because I suck when it comes to like managing speed and action value and planning around that. So we're just using Tribi's S1. Sparkle is also E1S1 because I had her and then I picked her from the selector. This is an even bigger case of the S1 not being good. DDD is way better than Sparkle's S1. Sparkle's S1 is dog shit in comparison, to be completely honest, right? So not only would I would not count that. You can count this towards the total cost of the team, but honestly, it's not a good light cone. I pulled it for exactly one reason, and that is her feet are in the light cone. And this is going to sound weird, but I promised myself that I would pull every light cone that has bare feet in it. Yes, that's weird. Yes, I'm weird. Don't worry about it. So, of course, I also have Topaz's signature light. Anyways, that's the thing. We have her E1, which is really nice, not necessary. It is more damage and more speed, but you can live without it, especially because we're going to be having a lot of attack anyway. So this is a heavily diluted multiplier. And with better pieces, you wouldn't need the extra speed. It just makes her easier to build because my pieces... I actually have pretty decent pieces on her, but they could still be better. And finally, we have DHPT. His build is total trash, and his light cone is also trash. I think it's probably better to run a high base attack light cone, but I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like it. Yeah, he's here. He's here, and that's about it. Anyways, let's actually start this thing. Now, this is actually a pretty good enemy lineup for Silver Wolf as a DPS, I'd say. You want to make sure you activate all of your delicious techniques. Hopefully the volume isn't too loud here. I might need to turn it down actually, so you don't, get completely eviscerated in your ears. Make sure you cast Tribi's ult right away. We're going to be able to spam this a fair bit. Now, right here, you can go ahead and skill or you can basic. I'd rather basic because if you start spamming skills too much, you can actually run out of skill points. And we're going to get hit by the enemy here anyway, so we don't actually need to do a skill to be able to get his ult. See, we got it. And you want to be careful about the order you do this in, right? We don't want to cast his ult right away and then attack with Silver Wolf, because then the dragon will attack before we've applied debuffs and cast our other ults. So now we're going to scale with Silver Wolf. Again, wait. Don't cast his ult and don't cast her ult. Let the dragon do its normal attack. Now we can use Sparkle to advance Silver Wolf. Then we Sparkle ult. And then we Silver Wolf ult. And then we use DHPT's ult. That way we can get all of our buffs and debuffs going before we start, trying to dish out big PP damage. 923k. I'd say that's pretty solid damage. I don't know about you, but I'm satisfied with that for an E0 Silver Wolf. Man, I wish I could get her to E6, so that'd be crazy. Now, we are going to want to put it on this dude, because if we do too much damage, we're going to be killing this guy with AoE damage anyways at this point. Plus, we need to get our skill debuff on Ice Out of Space over here. Like so, the dragon doing a very hefty 640,000 damage, which is incredible. Attack this guy over here. We can use her ult again. Now, DDD is probably better on Tribi, but I really like her signature because it lets me spam her ult, which lets me, if I have really fast ults in the team, it lets me spam her follow-up attack more as well. A bug. We cannot quite one cycle this, unfortunately, I don't think. We might be able to. Come on, DHPT Dragon. Bring it home. Perfect. 0 cycle. Incredible. We're definitely not 0 cycling this half, but we can certainly try. What's really annoying about Cocolia and Bronya is Bronya, when she advances Cocolia, she cleanses every single debuff off of Cocolia. But Bronya, she does not take a whole lot of damage, I feel like. I've done runs where I focused on Cocolia, and I've done runs where I focused on Bronya. I always feel like I end up killing faster by focusing on Cocolia instead. I might just be stupid, so, you know, take that with a massive grain of salt. I'm definitely not the greatest at this game, but I'm someone that tries. It would be so cool to have at least E2 on Silverwolf. If they ever add her to the shop where you can choose stuff, I am certainly going to be picking up her Eidolon. Again, make sure you activate as many things as you can first before you start doing all the damage. Go, go, go! Tribby's. I realized I'm on English. I do not care for the English dub. It depends on the character. Like, I love the English dub for Silverwolf, but I do not like the English dub for some other characters. But we're not using any characters I particularly hate the English dub for right now, so it's fine. We're chilling. Now, we have plenty of skill points here. I mentioned earlier that you can run out of skill points if you spam. I have spammed skills before on Tribby and skills on DHPT and run out. So you don't really want to do that. But we can... yeah, we'll go ahead and skill with Tribby right now, because we should be able to bring up Silverwolf. Yeah. Now, we're going to do damage, but unfortunately, it's probably... she's about to get... Oh, no, she already brought her up earlier. Never mind, we're chilling. If you don't spam skills too often on Tribby, you can spam them pretty often on DHPT. I know it's probably like most people wouldn't spam skills on Tribby anyways. Her basic attack does acceptable amounts of damage, but it's something I tried, so don't judge me too much, please. Feeling spiffy? I definitely prefer the Japanese dub, though. Much better. Especially for Bronya, or sorry, Silverwolf, because she has Bronya's VA from Honkai Impact 3rd. If you're a Honkai Impact 3rd player, you'll know how amazing Bronya's VA is, and it's very nostalgic for me, so I'm quite fond of that. Now, I think we'll probably end up getting this, I want to say, 2 or 3 cycles. You could definitely manage this in a easy 2 cycle if you had better pieces on your Silverwolf. My Silverwolf's pieces are kinda total dookie, so that is highly unfortunate, but I can't really do much about that right now. I'll go. We're gonna use Sparkle's ult first again, and then blast off. Now we're gonna actually want to start doing some damage to Bronya directly, because we don't want to kill Cocolia and then Bronya still be a bunch of health, especially when a lot of our damage is coming through Silverwolf from her AoE on her ults. Amazing. This is going quite well so far, I'd say, all things considering. We want to try to kill them as close to at the same time as we can. But at the same time, you don't want to wait too long and then Cocolia just keep getting cleansed over and over. I'm going to go ahead and skill her again. And then I'll ult. I could wait until after she gets pulled up by Bronya. That would probably be smarter now that I think about it. But it's a little late now, so... Amazing, we get another turn just in time. And yeah, let's target Bronya again. Whee! Another ult from Tribby. Look at that. She has such good personal damage for a support. That's another reason that I wanted her Lycon was, yeah, you're not advancing the team as much like you would be able to with DDD. Yeah, see, look at this. This is going to be a 3 cycle. But if we had if I was better at the game and it had slightly better pieces, that is 100% a doable 2-cycle. Let's play for a while. We unfortunately aren't going to be able to get her ults quite. So close, yet so far. Dragons soaring above them. I think if we had one more like light cone or something, if we had E2 Sparkle again though, you really want it. That would be kind of a waste, right? E2 Sparkle just to get that 2-cycle, when if you had better pieces or if you were better at the game, you would probably be able to manage it just fine. And finally, the last ult. Look at this. It's incredible. A DPS Silverwolf? What? Recycling a modern day Memory of Chaos? I'd say that's pretty solid. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty solid. And what's the total cost of this team? I forgot because, you know, numbers are hard. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cost, but we can take out DHPT because he was free, so that brings it down to an 8 cost. Sparkle's Light Cone is dog shit. DDD is way better, so if we were to take that out, we would upgrade the team and bring the cost down down to 7 cost. And I'll keep it there because you could say another DDD would probably be better on Tribby, but I mean, I've been playing since the game came out, day 1. I've been playing since like the first 20 minutes the game came out, okay? And I've only missed my dailies like 3 times, and even I don't have 2 S5 DDDs. So we'll assume you probably at least have 1 extra cost somewhere. Not that you need her light cone, right? You could pull like DHPT's light cone instead, and then have a different light cone that's not this on her. But you get the point, right? So I'd say it's more realistic to say that this is a 7 cost-ish team, quotation marks. But all things considered, that's pretty solid. A 3-cycle, that could be a 2-cycle. I think Silverwolf actually works really well as a DPS, given the right setup, right? She definitely prefers a mix between AoE and single target. Pure AoE, it's a little harder without her E1 and using before the tutorial starts to spam her ults. But at E0, something like that where it's a couple targets, but also, you know, her single target damage from her skill is still being made use of, works really well. It's crazy to me, just mind-boggling, that they left the multiplier of her ults the same when they buffed her, but made it fully, it was single target at 380%, and they made it AoE at 380%. That's wild. Yeah, she's not broken or anything, but if we compare that to like Himiko, okay, Silverwolf is a debuffer. She's not supposed to be a DPS. 380% AoE on, what's her ult cost? It is, let me see, 110 ult cost. Himiko has 120 ult cost AoE with 230%. What is that? She is a DPS. That's crazy. They really need to buff Himiko as well as all of the standard banner units. Holy mother of God, please Hoyo buff this. Anyways, I digress. That was Silverwolf as a DPS with the current Memory of Chaos before it resets. I'm hoping the next one has another not horrible boss. A great example would be the second boss in this one is just so bad. I hate this swarm firefly boss. It's so painful to fight. But anyways, that's gonna do it. That's the video. If you like the video, leave a like and subscribe, yada yada yada. If you have anything that you would like me to try given the characters that I own, let me see. These are the guys I own, and if I don't have them, I can't do anything. There you go. You're welcome. Okay, bye.